Voices of defiance against what they describe as oppression and tyranny. Some hours before a press conference at the Ghana International Press Center, police dispersed the protesters with water cannons and tear gas. I was in the middle of a live report. I had to run to safety with the crew. 2 people collapsed in front of me.
Oh, sorry, okay, so another tear gas. Let's go. Go.
We rushed to a nearby house where we got some water to wash our face. These passers-by at Circle were also affected.
You can see all of these people, they were not part of the protesters. Many of them had to run here to pour water on your faces. Tell me, where exactly were you before they fired the tear gas?
I had a problem with my Ghana card, and I had to go to DRA to work on it. So me, as a matter of fact, I'm not part of the protesters, but you see what I'm going through. I just don't know. I came with a friend and I can't see him. I had a friend with me and I don't know where he's whereabouts. See, this is very bad.
So just like him, we had to run here to seek cover and to pour water on our faces because it was getting terrible at a point. So you can see, what's your name?
Kelvin, I'm Kelvin.
Kelvin.
I was just at the traffic lights coming. I was going to take a Madina car and I was going to take my phone. So I was just heading. I saw people running. Then all of a sudden, my eyes was just started burning. This is my first time experiencing this. And I'm so scared.
Were you part of the protesters?
No, please.
This is a marketplace. And the activity that is going on there, it's not everybody that is in it. So for them to have thrown tear gas into public, in the marketplace like this, so burning, some serious burning sensation in the nose, in the eyes, and all over the face, I don't think it's the best. And people with asthma problem, with different, there was a lady fainted. We had to resuscitate her. A lady fainted here. I mean, she could have just died. And I'm not even sure that lady was part of, this demonstration. In fact, to have thrown tear gas in public like this, it's just not the best.
Police in a statement said it had to use water cannons and tear gas to disperse the protesters after they pelted them with stones and bent ties in the middle of the road. The police service said 12 of its men were injured in the process. At a press conference later in the evening, National Communications Officer of the NDC and a member of Arise Ghana, Sami Jimfi, said the police crowd control measures deployed were orchestrated.
See, the whole thing was choreographed. Immediately they started pushing them, and the guys were going back. They started firing tear gas. And then immediately we saw people throwing stones. And these people were not Arise Ghana demonstrators. These were agents provocateurs planted in our midst by the police. That is what they did. And that is why even before that incident happened, if you listen to my speech, when I first addressed the demonstrators, I said that we have information that there are policemen in Arise Ghana t-shirt among us, and they've been sent to cause trouble. I said it before it happened. And we arrest people throwing stones at you. We give them to you to arrest and detain. And you protect them and shield them from arrest. I mean, where in the world have you seen something like this happen? When there to protest against high cost of fuel, is that a crime? No. When there to protest against the obnoxious e-levy, which to us amounts to thievery, which is leading to job losses, collapsing the Momo industry, and imposing untold hardships on Ghanaians. We went there to protest against the infamous Ejaboni deal, in which this government is seeking to appropriate the mineral royalties of this country for themselves in perpetuity. We went there to protest against corruption.
Another member of the group, Bernard Mona, says the group is unwavering in its demand for better management of the country and will go ahead with day 2 of the protest.
Recent and current colonialist of our time is President Akufo-Addo. He chooses the date 28th to unleash brutality on the people of Ghana. what else can we do as innocent citizens? We should stop because Akufo-Addo has brutalized us? No. Elwak Sports Stadium at 9 o'clock, we move to the Russian embassy, come out of the Christ the King traffic light, take the Liberation Road, come and terminate at the Parliament House, in front of the Parliament House.
And that's the agreement you went into?
That is what we have agreed. We initially had said that tomorrow we'll go to the Ministry of Finance, which is the capital city of corruption. And that is the fact that we are seeking economic liberation, we should go to the Ministry of Finance. The police say they will not allow that. As for meeting our people representative in the frontage of Parliament, we will go.
And so we have that all-important conversation right now. Of course, it's the most topical matter, and we're going to look at it from all angles, mirrored angles, as we contemplate what happened yesterday and another day of shame for us as a country. A day of shame. Because, look, these things mustn't happen. They really shouldn't happen. But joining us for the conversation, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, he's Member of Parliament for South Dine. He's also a member of both the Public Accounts Committee and the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. We also have joining the conversation a gentleman who's not been here in a while, Dr. Dickson Adomako-Kisi, Member of Parliament Anyaso, to a member of the Public Accounts Committee. In fact, both of you have not been here in a while. You have been out and about with your pack.
No, I've been here.
Sittings.
When you went away on short leave.
Okay, all right. This short leave that I never went on. But anyway, I was away briefly, so you've been here in my absence, so to speak. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Dr. Dickson, it's good to have you.
Thank you. And let me use the opportunity to say good morning to my good people in South Dine. Peki, Ikpali, Ikpeve, Tongo. Yet, we are safe in Accra. We are being brutalized, but we are safe.
We'll get into that.
Yes.
Would you like to, any words for the members of your
Anyaso? Well,
I've spoken to a few people. They have some very good, words to share about their member of parliament. Your kindness and certain things you do. I didn't want to say that, but
we hope to get more to do more. So I would also use the opportunity to say hello to Anyaso and to continue to plead with them to be considerate of the fact that, yes, our roads are bad, yes, we have drainage issues, but I'll consistently push wherever I can to make sure that these issues are addressed. But it's a huge problem. It needs huge funding, not our regular small boy funding. So it's being worked on. In the interim, I'm hoping that 4 of our critical roads will be at least attended to within the shortest possible time.
Okie doke. So let's get into it. But before we do, I'd just like to react quickly. So initially, when I was in the course of the news review, I was talking about this same, and I'm very passionate about this. It's unfortunate what happened. I made mention of the fact that Kojo Ponkro, my information minister, had suggested that the public had, thrown tear gas at a point. So he just sent me a short video and a bit of clarification. So it is only fair that I put it out. He says, hi Ben, the information minister didn't say he saw protesters throw the first bouts of tear gas. He said, 1, and I'm putting it out just as he sent it to me. 1, the police briefed him that the first bouts of tear gas were thrown from the protesters. So he was only reporting what the police had told him. And 2, NDC's Joshua Akamba confirmed it in his interview with Joy News. So that is by way of a disclaimer on that matter. Point well made, Mr. Information Minister. So let's continue now with the conversation. And your quick reflection on what happened yesterday. I mean, eventually, I also want us to touch on the economy, how things are going, the e-levy, the National Cathedral, and all of that. But we'll save that for later. What happened yesterday, Doc? How do you feel about that?
I was hoping to come after Man in Red, but that's fine. So there are 2 things here. 1, individuals have a right to demonstrate. And let me say that even in the UK recently there was a demonstration. So So there's never, let me say, a time that democracy would reach a certain point where people would say that, oh, we have water, we have food, we have stable electricity, so we won't demonstrate. In as much as we're living, some elements, some segments of our communities will not be happy with, the status quo. And rightly so, I think governance makes room for demonstration. Now, the only challenge I have is that we have to conduct ourselves appropriately. And many a times that is the problem of demonstration. I think we all saw, even not too long ago, when a black life was lost in the US, how powerful the demonstration went on and for a number of days. And I think that we need to improve on two things, police training, and then also how we manage those who demonstrate. We ourselves who are demonstrating. Because those two things, it takes two to tango. And what I mean by that is that the aggression or the retaliation depends on the two people. And unfortunately, I think that this demonstration shows that if you cannot control the people you are going to demonstrate with, you need to be very wary and very careful about that if you intend to go on a peaceful demonstration. And that is always a problem. I mean, personally, if you even decide to do a walk in your community, along the line, you'd have some people that you'd have wished would not join, heavily drunk people who
But I mean, realistically, this was a discussion I had with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante earlier. Realistically, yes, there is some burden on organizers of a demonstration.
Absolutely.
But how far can you stretch the burden? I mean, they cannot determine who will be coming from Kaswa to join. There were people from outside the Greater Accra region, from all kinds of places, who had come from the Ashanti region, who had come to join the demonstration.
Absolutely.
How do you control those?
And
you heard, was it Sami Jemfi making mention of the fact that
allegation.
They actually saw some of these people who were hurling stones and brought them to the police, take charge of them.
Okay.
And that the police was rather protecting these people, which is why they insinuate, hold on. Which is why they insinuate, protect in the sense of deal with them, take them away, whisk them away. But it appeared it was a different, per what he said, okay? But they did the right thing in that instance. People are flouting the rules of engagement. We've brought them to you. Deal with them. Later on, then tear gas also came in and all of that. Do you get it? So how far do you stretch the bit of where you're saying organizers of such events should take charge?
So what comes out clear out of yesterday's program is the fact that one, Sami Jemfi admits that some recalcitrant people within the demonstrators did not help their cause. And then two, like I said, that we need to up our game in terms of policing or training in terms of how we manage demonstration. But I think that one key thing rings a bell, which is that the police were like, we have come to protect you, not to maim you, not to hurt you. And I really think that when you're on the field is a whole different thing. I mean, I've been through demonstration and I've organized a few before, and sometimes your stomach turns because when you see your own people doing the wrong thing, it hurts the goal of what you're trying to achieve. But let me also just say this to the demonstrators. There's nowhere in the world that things aren't difficult now, and I appreciate the frustration they're going through. It is a challenge even for government, as government tries to meet, obligations of loans, obligations of statutory payments, which he and I know some are delayed, unfortunately. And these are real challenges. Nobody would argue otherwise. But the key thing here is how do we approach this and to make it a solution-based, demonstration or a solution approach so that Ghana as a country wins. And that is the key question here. But I'm with them. Sorry to those who have suffered injuries, both on the police side, both bystanders, and then all those who partook in this demonstration. But, you know, clearly, I think their message has been heard, and it won't fall on deaf ears. And in as much as we are the voice of the people as well, we will share the sentiments in Parliament and make sure that, you know, the audience is given to them in terms of these real challenges that all of us are facing. When I go to the pump, I pay, you know, the same fuel as everybody.
We're talking about sanitary pads. Sanitary pads. Some say even condoms have become
sanitary pads
too highly priced for them to purchase, and all kinds of things.
I mean, those are sometimes you know, a bit more ridiculous. I'm looking at Bayre.
You think it's ridiculous?
I'm looking at
Bayre that as
food on the table. That is where I'm very passionate about. You know, hoping that you know, I mean, I'm almost thinking that you know, our food issues are almost a national security issue now. And somebody told me that, listen, when Ghanaians are hungry, then they act these ways. And what is important is that maybe the Agric Ministry ought to liaise with the, you know, military and do some, you know, transfer of foods from the hinterlands for maybe some 90-day period, which would then lessen the prices of our goods, because it is becoming troublesome. Tomatoes, onions, you know, the basics.
Some people have also said, I mean, there are two sides to this story. When, you know, now diesel is more expensive than, I don't want to mention because petrol. It's a brand, but some, you know, petrol products, which is absurd, because a lot of these public transport, they use
run
diesel.
On diesel.
Farm equipment uses diesel. So this is because the highest that you would have on the market, we all know, it's a petrol product, you know, product. And if now diesel catapults to the point, one of the demonstrators was making the point yesterday that, look, what I used to, and yeah, you can look at it as being political, but the person was saying under the former administration, under John Dramani Mahama, what he was getting
COVID,
for a
without
gallon. No.
War in Russia.
They had Doomsaw, they had Ebola, they had other things to deal with at a point.
Yeah.
And they also had
still not at this
an IMF program to deal with. They had so many things
still
to do.
Not at
I really don't like that equalization, because it doesn't take us
I'm not.
We put people in power to solve problems.
Absolutely.
The person was making the point that back then, what he was getting for a gallon, which is almost 4 liters, now he spends on just a liter. So that is a crucial problem. But on the other side, we also know that apparently there are some people who are also taking advantage of the system to hike prices.
Yeah.
Some would say that you go and get maybe maize, yam from up north and other places at a certain price, but once it gets to Accra, it is hiked. Almost tenfold the price. But then you must also look at the fuel cost. You must look at transportation, bad roads. You must look at perishables.
Labor.
There are so many factors.
Yeah.
But it's a balance. Some are taking undue advantage of the system, but the reality of the fuel prices is also there. I just wanted to add that to what you're saying.
Thank you.
Let me come to Roxanne now. And before I come to you, I've seen quite a lot of you are very interested. So Jeffrey Ajapon says, burning tires to cause mayhem, and you expected the police to clap for you, eh? That is what Jeffrey says. Abila Musa says, so we can no longer have a peaceful and meaningful demonstration in this country, a demonstration that will define our situations rather than what we are seeing. And Aaron Babako Kokomisa also highlights the fact that this is a constitutional right per our legal frameworks, and that we should abide by it. We should also pay attention to what we stand for religiously speaking, as Christians and Muslims. And he asked, have we forgotten so soon our Quranic lessons where we are being admonished to greet each other with peace? So different thoughts being shared on the matter. But what is your quick reflection on what transpired yesterday?
Today is a very dark day.
Is that why you are dressed in red?
Yes. Dark day because what happened yesterday ought not to have happened. And I'll use the opportunity to give a small narrative regarding how intolerant, how the police in this country have decided to use brute force and firearms anytime a group of Ghanaians, be it students or civilians, decide to register their protestation by way of holding a procession. One, sometime last year, young students from, I think, St. Monica's in Kumasi or St. Louis, formed 3 students during the COVID times. We are still in COVID though. But initially they were asked to go home. Then, I think about 4 p.m., information came that they should stay on campus. And the students felt that when the information came that they should go home, they are prepared, packed their trunks and chop boxes and brought some even to the roadside. Some were even in a vehicle ready to go. So they should be allowed to go home and return maybe a couple of days later. They had to call in the police to brutalize those students.
Are you suggesting the intent was to brutalize them?
But they were brutalized to the extent that...
Yes, but it's one thing saying they were eventually brutalized,
yes,
and another suggesting that
but
the whole idea was to go out and
I'm painting a picture.
Right.
How does a disagreement by a group of girls, SS3 girls, result in you bringing in a whole police force to mete out brutalities to them? To the extent that I had to file a urgent question in Parliament, directed at the regional minister, who came to Parliament to brief us on that matter. And it happened at night. Just a couple of weeks ago, accidents have been happening in front of the Kumasi Islamic School.
Right, Islamic SHS.
Yes. For some time. The student leadership decided to register their protestation and call on the Metro Urban Manager Director to come and do something about it. They poured onto the streets in front of their school. Eventually, police have had to come in. Even where these school children were running away from danger, police chased them and visited brutalities on them. I'm painting a picture. When somebody is a fugitive from danger, you don't chase him. But they were chased. They used live bullets. In Parliament, just last year, when we, on the side of the minority, decided to register our protestation by staging a walk within our rights to the offices of the Electoral Commission, we were brutalized. Please, ACP, what's his name? Kwesifori, led the team to brutalize us opposite Ridge Hospital.
I
got brutalized.
He led a team.
Why? He led the team?
It would suggest that the intent of
no, he led the team. I was there. So I'm narrating hard facts. Even though he claimed that he had gone to court at the time, he ignored his court proceedings and court processes and came to brutalize us as MPs. I was brutalized. Kwesifori.
I'll get to an interesting point when you land, because
hold on.
there are other antecedents, but you go ahead.
Hold on. Now, this group served notice that they will stage their demonstration to register their protestation. They have had discussions with the Ghana Police Service. There have been agreements and disagreements. Eventually, you went to court. Court is for all of us. You move your application, they will post it competently. The court found a middle way, which didn't suit the organizers. Right. So what did they do? They quickly went back to court and had recourse to the remedy available to them in law by appealing the decision immediately and filing a stay of proceedings.
Right. It is interesting you bring that up, and I want us to
we'll deal with that.
Go ahead.
So clearly, this was the demonstration that was supposed to be peaceful. I've also sent you a couple of pictures. Who came to cycle carrying lorry tire on his head to participate in the demonstration? Who came there? The Ghana Police Service has a station at Cycle under the bridge. So if lorry tire was brought there to be bent, no protester came to Cycle from home carrying a lorry tire to come and bend, or stones.
I'm just making a point.
And I'll tell you, I've sent you a picture that depicted a policeman in full combat armor and regalia holding stone from the belly of the police anti-riot vehicle and hurling it.
Do you know the backstory to that? Let me just give you the backstory to that before you.
Let me finish.
No. Let me. You've made mention of that. I may forget.
Take note.
For the benefit of those who have seen that, picture. So, per the account of our man on the ground, our reporter, what happened was, yes, it's a bit, and this is being very fair to both sides. When you see him about to throw the stone from the belly of the anti-riot vehicle, it would suggest a police officer throwing this. But what our reporter told us was that he was right there. The demonstrators had thrown stones at him in his vehicle, so he had to duck. And when he did so, it has a hatch where the person comes out and goes back in. Some fell through the hatch. And when he came out, that was the unprofessional part. When he came out, he also picked some of those that had fallen him. But he's also a human being. You get it, the reaction. And threw it back at them, which he shouldn't have done, professionally speaking. But I'm just saying that is the backstory to that photograph. Please go ahead.
You see, as a trained professional, who is as a trained
I agree with you on the professional level, but I'm just giving you the background.
But the evidence that we see, you are given a background, but the evidence shows that he is throwing the stone, captured on camera.
Also.
All right?
Only.
So, look, the Ghana Police Service, and I've seen the video where the IGP was briefing over the 1,000 contingent deployed yesterday.
So that's clearly, the picture, that's the picture on your screens that is being referred to.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the evidence. There's no other evidence apart from this. So whether
so he came there also with stones. Look, that's what you're saying.
Yes. Why? They can load this vehicle with stones.
So no, I'm just asking.
We share that photo, of course, courtesy of Ghana Broadcasting.
So my brother,
are you saying that he came there with stones?
Yes. Is it not possible? When I look at this,
and that's a question I was posing this morning. Are you suggesting this police officer came in the anti-riot vehicle with stones already in the
they actually infiltrated
you admitted that they didn't come there with tires and stones.
No, I said our demonstrators, because if any person who intended to participate in yesterday's
that is a difficult argument,
carried a lorry tire, from home yesterday, he wouldn't have even made it to Cycle. It was even not possible for you to carry a lorry tire from home to Cycle to bend.
So how it
was possible, but
how did they get the lorry tires then?
Thank you. That's the point I'm making.
As for the stones, there are some around. So
I suspect the police coordinated all that. Look,
Roxanne, wait. I'm sorry. You're a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer.
This kind of assertion
no. Akakpo.
The police coordinated what happened so that they themselves can appear to be.
Why?
Wow.
Why? You think it's not possible?
No, it's. I'm not saying it's impossible. I am saying it is a rather far-fetched. Rather far-fetched.
That is the allegation I am making.
Wow.
And I want them to deny it, because the IGP was very clear that if you go, treat those people as yourselves the way you expect to be treated when you are on the other side.
Nice.
And I like that expression from the IGP.
Thank you.
He said, treat them as Ghanaians. The police should tell me how the ties were gathered and set ablaze when over 1,000 police force were deployed yesterday, along right from the headquarters of the police service all the way to Circle. How was that possible?
They said over 500 of them were deployed.
Over 500.
At least I'm giving you the official figure they gave us.
I saw the numbers yesterday. Why?
I'm just assuming.
They can under-declare.
Oh my goodness.
They can under-declare. The numbers we saw yesterday were simply, look, the number of policemen were nearly as the numbers of the demonstrators.
Then that is good policing.
That's not good policing. That's abuse of power.
No.
And
it would have been bad if they didn't have appropriate numbers.
And this also happened. They deploy men amongst the demonstrators and allowed them to wear red. I have also sent you a photograph. We spotted some of them before the procession began within the offices that they have under under the overhead at Circle. I've sent you that photograph. So yesterday, when the commander of the contingent, the anti-riot contingent, should be resigning this morning, because clearly what he and his men came to do was in clear variance with what the IGP instructed.
So you admit then
yes,
that was not the IGP whatever,
because I saw the IGP's instructions.
Okay.
So I cannot blame IG this morning.
Right.
I will blame the leaders.
I'm sending one of the photos you've sent me to my producer, because I think the other two we've shown already.
Yes.
I'm sending this one to him so we give everybody, fair briefing, which suggests, and I don't know what you're trying to insinuate from this photo, but my producer, I'm just sending that to him now so we can take a look at it and have you make whatever assertion.
I can even argue that the pictures from him are also doctored.
This photograph.
I can
even yesterday,
make that argument.
For our people to take photographs of some of the police brutalities, they were prevented. They were prevented.
But the media were also...
Yes, a lot of the footages you saw came from the media houses.
Yes.
From our own people. They wouldn't allow you to photograph them.
Really?
They deployed men who are not even passed out from the training school.
Are you sure?
What are you talking about?
And what is your proof on this? Where is your proof?
Yesterday.
That they deployed men who haven't even gone.
Yes, who are in that training. Who are in that training from Tesano.
Where is your proof?
Yesterday by this time, they were on
Roxanne, where is your proof?
Listen, yesterday by this time, I was on my way to the office, okay, to see the demonstrators and then move to the office. They were on about 30 to 40 motorbikes. Young motorbikes looking like a go-kart, but black. All right? And they rode from Tesano and came to join the riot gang here.
So the information that you see them coming from there means...
No. The information we had was that to the extent that they needed more men, they had to deploy some of their trainees to assist them. And I want to ask whether this is regular.
No, but you know that sometimes there are police officials who go for further training at the depot. So it's not necessary that...
when you are under training,
these are
not the chief inspectors who are being trained to be...
You have no idea.
You see, we have to err on the side of caution. You don't know that for a fact.
I know it for a fact.
It happened for a fact.
Let them deny.
So where is your proof?
Let them deny.
You are almost saying that...
No, let them deny.
Let me do this.
As
a lawyer,
yes, I am making...
You are a lawyer. I'm a student.
I can allege.
If you allege,
yes, I can allege.
What must you do?
The burden is on you.
Oh, yes.
So
let them recant. Let them recant. If they recant, I'll produce.
No. But that's not how it works.
No, it works
in a court of law. You have alleged.
No, yes, I have made allegation. Have you heard from them? You haven't heard from them.
No, but we are.
So let them admit or deny. Then we take it next.
Your photo is ready.
Yes.
Let's take a look at what Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo is speaking of. So that is the photograph, and you arrow there the person in red.
Yes.
Entering.
Yes, and there were so many of them. There were so many of them wanted to take photographs. They won't allow us. But this one, somebody succeeded. And these were the people who were peltering the stones later on. Some of them, that were apprehended and handed over, and yet they won't handcuff them. They march them away. They give them a protection in a circle and march them away.
So you are suggesting that these people were infiltrators. They infiltrated the arrivals.
And perpetrated some of the brutalities or the violence that is being attributed to the organizers.
So the police
but I have hold on. Yeah. I have an interesting question for you.
Yes.
If these people were brought together by the Ghana Police Service,
yes,
as you allege
yes,
or suggest, how come they ended up injuring members of the police service? Because that's what they did. The stones they threw and all of that. They injured the police officers
into a crowd.
Was that also planned?
Well, they may not have anticipated that when you ask people to start to ignite something that will catch fire, they didn't anticipate that when you throw stone into a crowd, it may hit one of your own. Oh, why?
How?
What are you saying?
This is preposterous, really. I mean,
don't say preposterous. Police service, what the police service did yesterday was contrary to the... And I'm making that point clear.
I think this is one of your lowest points.
Never.
You know, the way
we are so angry.
The way you are stretching.
No, Kisi,
you know, listen.
Don't trivialize what happened yesterday.
We have to give respect.
What happened yesterday,
which was there to protect the people.
When you were speaking, I was very quiet.
No, but your arguments are a bit.
I am not making argument. I am narrating facts.
Okay,
go ahead.
As things that we think happened.
Then it's not fact. If you think it happened, it's not a fact.
No, I'm saying that out of the nearly 1,000 persons who trooped to circle yesterday, nobody came with a lorry tie to burn.
Or stones to throw.
Or stones to throw.
But there were stones thrown.
Thank you.
And the fact is that tires got bent, true or false?
Where did the tires come from?
No. I'm not here to...
The police are cordoned. They are cordoned. You see, let me finish.
Tires were bent.
They are cordoned off and offer security around the entire area. Nobody could have brought a lorry tie. Where did the tires emerge from?
So they came from the police depot?
Why?
The tires...
Who brought them?
Wow.
They are alleging that we burnt ties.
Alleging or we have all seen?
Hold on. You saw ties burning.
Yes.
And the police is alleging. Hold on. It's an allegation. Did they see the protesters setting fire to the ties?
Whoa.
You saw ties burning. Then you are alleging that it was
the argument
a protest.
Here,
yes,
from what you're saying is that those captured burning the tires should be checked and that they are police people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the point I'm making.
That is.
And how come they were able to go through the crowd with their ties in hand, deposited them and set fire to it when there were policemen around?
That trotro stations there. And the a lot of these.
No trotro work yesterday, Kisi.
No, but the station was there, and they
yes, but they didn't work yesterday. Were you there? You were not there. They did no trotro work yesterday.
So at the trotro station, there's no likelihood of having tires there. Is that what you're saying?
There are likelihood. So why didn't the police check? Because we are supposed to coordinate and check.
So Roxanne, I just want you to take a brief look. Look at those gentlemen there, by the tires.
Yes.
Are you suggesting these gentlemen were planted by the police, or planted maybe not by the police, but some other people who wanted to mar the
what other?
Look at those gentlemen.
What other reason will make the police not arrest these people? Look at where the police were standing.
Know, but you see, you are the same people who would say that. Hold on. You are the same people who would say that the police should have been measured. Now, look at this footage.
But arresting.
Just look at this footage we are showing you.
Oh.
You see the police standing at a distance, and the people are getting ready to burn tires.
No, Akakpo, exactly my point. Because burning tires is not part of the protocols agreed on for the demonstration. So when you burn tires, when you pelter people, that's an offense.
So what did you want them to do?
So the police should have arrested the people. That is why we are saying that the persons who engaged in this were persons that were known to the police. Because they wanted to do this to give the demonstration a bad name, like they are doing this morning. I tell you no lie.
That is not a fact.
That's not a fact. So why didn't the police arrest the people?
It happened, but you know...
So why didn't the police arrest the people?
Management
okay, I think Dr. Adumako Kisi, come in now.
Let me. You are heckling me. The two of you are heckling me. You won't let me.
How are we heckling you? I've heckling you more than enough time. Do you know how many minutes you spent talking?
You were coming in and coming in and coming in. So I want to say that our civil liberties will not be trampled upon in this country.
Agree.
The police brutalities being meted out to our people It's far too many.
Okay.
And it has to end. When a group of people decide to express their displeasure, their misgivings by holding peaceful demonstrations, we ought to allow them. Even in Somania, people who are protesting against the high rate of their ECG bills, you will only split on them.
I'm assuming that Bernard Mona was in black. I'm assuming that he was in black, right?
What is this?
No, you said that those who came in red T-shirts. Bernard Mona was in red T-shirt. So that argument you made is definitely not true. Because Bernard
Did you
was
listen
in
to
red.
my argument? I
No,
said
no.
all of us, we were all encouraged to be in red. So we prepared red T-shirts. Red T-shirts.
Okay, but then you're saying
Good.
that police...
Yes,
were the ones
but
in
so
red.
listen to me carefully.
Okay.
And the police knew they have this intelligence. So if you want to infiltrate the people, you give red T-shirt to your people for them to mingle.
Let me come in here.
Unnoticed.
It's interesting though, as you react. How would you react to the photo that we showed of that person, entering where the police officers were without, appearing to be someone who had been apprehended or anything? What picture does that paint to you?
No, I think that, one, policing has so many facets. And clearly, we don't know who this person was following. Maybe he had been asked to come in for questioning. We don't know. And it's what is actually rather beautiful is the fact that from what he's saying, the police were, guarding these people. And I think it was appropriate because they didn't want to send a signal to the other demonstrators that police were being very brutal. So in one breath, policing doing the appropriate thing of not being brutal is a problem for you. And, and that is a huge...
Because evidence, we've seen evidence where even persons they identify as amongst us, at the time of being arrested and handcuffed, they were still slapping the person. They were brutalizing the person. Even whilst the person was being brought. Yes.
No, there is an instance where a locked with locks.
Yes.
A gentleman with locks had been apprehended by the police and he was dealt a slap by another one. But other people quickly intervened.
This still buttresses my point. Listen, I really think that maybe in the future, demonstrators have to be registered. Okay.
Demonstrators have to be registered.
Yes. And that will
how do you do that?
No,
have mammoth crowds, tens of thousands of people.
I am not surprised the way you are getting a court to now say that we can only demonstrate within a certain time frame in this country.
Then we'll know that
a court of law says that we can only demonstrate between 8 p.m.
know that these actors were police
and 4 p.m. in this country.
So my other key point, which buttresses
you can hold a vigil at night, but we can't hold a procession at night.
Honorable. The key point here is that we are singing a similar song. Policing needs further training. And then those actors who are doing demonstration also need to manage themselves well. And it's
so bottom line. But let me ask you an interesting question. I have to go to Dr. Adam.
Let me rebut quickly. Let me rebut quickly. Our police are properly trained. We are one of the best in the world.
There's never enough training.
Yeah, we are one of the best in the world. No,
I'm not talking about not being one of the best.
Yeah, we are one of the best in the world.
There's never enough.
For yesterday's program, we were properly trained for it. IGP was very, very express.
No, training is not just
hold
vocal.
on.
It's how you manage the crowd.
You created the impression
crowd management.
You created the impression that they were deficient in managing yesterday. They were not. They simply disregarded IGP's instructions and did what they had to do yesterday on the grounds.
All right. Point made. I have a simple question for you from the legal point of view.
Yeah.
When looking at the roundabout in court,
yes,
the court, I feel, did the right thing because our law guarantees this right and allowed the people to demonstrate. But at the same time, the Ghana Police Service had said that, look,
but that right was placed in check yesterday.
Hold for me. Looking at the fact that the circumstances and maybe how charged the situation could get. And they also suggest that, look, terrorist threats and this and that, let's limit it. The demonstrators went beyond 4 p.m., but let's not even talk about that. The point is, the court stipulated something. You went for a stay.
Yes.
What does that do? Does it quash what the court had decided?
It does not.
That's the point I want you to answer.
It does not. It does not quash what the court has decided.
So they should have stuck to what the court said. The route, go to Independence Square and do 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is that also?
I agree with you. that as a lawyer and somebody who has practiced for many years.
Thank you.
I agree that the filing of stay does not
negate
the
ruling,
the substantive court directive. But that directive from that order by the court was, with all due respect to the court, a bit unreasonable.
But that is
a bit unreasonable because the court is saying that, for instance, between 8 a.m. and 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. you cannot demonstrate. That's what it suggests. If the court had said that you could demonstrate up to 6 p.m., I would have found some favor with that. But to see that the demonstration
managing in
could
darkness
only start from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., I had a problem with that.
Okay, so bottom line,
with that.
They should have stuck to the court's directives.
Yes,
on
I
that.
agree.
But you had a problem with the ruling. Fine. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Let me bring in Dr. Adam Bona, a security analyst. Doc, thank you for joining the conversation. In about a minute or two maximum, give us your reflection on what transpired yesterday, and I'll walk you through the police statement on this matter and certain actions they mean to take, and we'll discuss it from there. But your quick reaction, first of all.
Well, yes, good morning and good morning to your panelists in the studio. My reaction, I would say, what happened yesterday, some of us foresaw that some days before yesterday, and some of us took it upon ourselves to call the leaders of the demonstrators, the Arise Ghana, call some of them and have a conversation with them. Because then I had sensed that there was too much confusion in the air. And you heard the Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Akakpo, who is a lawyer, saying that the fact that they had gone, I'm not a lawyer, but once you practice security, you work, with all manner of, issues. Once they had gone for a stay of execution, that would not automatically set aside what the court had ruled for them to have done. And so in one breath, I had heard some lawyers who were probably part of the demonstrators actually saying that once they had gone for a stay of execution, that meant that they could, go to stick to their original, route or route. And I thought someone would have to let them know that once they do that, there was going to be confusion. And so what we saw yesterday was just anarchy, chaotic, and the throwing of stones, burning of tires. It moved from, a position of, crowd control to a position of riot control. And the moment you get to riot control, you can read literature, review other videos from all over the world. The moment it goes into the realm of riot control instead of crowd control, then these things we saw yesterday are bound to happen. But fortunately, we didn't have any serious injuries. We didn't have any fatalities, which I thought is good. But mine is that, Ben, the reason why the people went out there yesterday to demonstrate, I would have wished that is what we would have been discussing since yesterday to today. This discussion is not concentrating on the hardship we are faced with. It's not talking about the fuel. It's not talking about the high cost of living in the country. And so we are
Which
sitting
are the
on a
fair
time
points, the very background, the very basis for the demonstration.
And the reason why I am slotting that in is because we are sitting on a time bomb. We are sitting on a gunpowder that is just waiting for someone to light it. Because then the idea of the demonstration is to highlight the challenges all of us, everybody in this country. You go to the petrol pump, you go to the market, cost of living is gone up, skyrocketed. This discussion we are having is not talking about what can we do, what can the executive, the president, who Ghanaians voted for, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who, can do some magic to probably bring hope to the country. What can he do? Once that discussion is not going on, believe you me, I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but what I foresee is that we are going to have series of demonstrations, series of picketing, because this would have been a fine opportunity to get the leaders to listen. But unfortunately, it's been a discussion between the demonstration, we are discussing the demonstrators and the police. Meanwhile, these two groups have nothing to do with how this country is run. This discussion is not going to reduce the fuel, would not bring down prices, and it can only probably widen the gap. So mine is that, Ben, whilst we are talking about what happened and what went wrong yesterday, I would advise the leaders of the demonstrators to stick to the original plan of highlighting the challenges we are all faced with, whether you belong to A, you belong to P, you don't belong anywhere, we are all in this together. So they should probably listen to the police, and so that by the end of today, Ben, we will be discussing why they went on the demonstration. At the moment, since yesterday, I have been so tired talking to the media, talking to the police, talking to the demonstrators. I'm so tired, but we haven't really spoken about why they went on the street.
Right.
And so anyone who had an injury yesterday, anyone who was injured, whether it be the person, a police officer or a demonstrator, I'll tell you that probably might have gotten injury for nothing. So let's discuss, once we are discussing what happened yesterday, let's also discuss the challenges we are faced with in the country, or else things would get out of hand we might not be able to control.
Right, and we'll get into the police statement, but I also just want to, the latest news coming in on the back of one of the core reasons, fuel prices. It's interesting because Joy Business, our business team, from what they gather from the bulk oil distribution companies, what is going to happen, hopefully by the 2nd of July, that fuel pricing window, what is going to happen is that petrol is going to go down by 8%. That is what is projected. It's not that it will exactly happen, but that is what is projected from our interactions with the bulk oil distribution companies. A kilo of LPG may also go down, by 7%. Don't go and misquote me and say I said it will, may go down. So petrol by 8%, may. LPG by 7%, may. But diesel, and this is my worry, diesel is to go up by 3%. That's I mean, it's going to be even worse for those who bought public transport, or if you use it for farming and all of that agricultural equipment and a lot of industry. But let's come to the police statement, Dr. Bona. I'll take out some key points. Of course, the police have arrested 29 people. This is dated yesterday. Available video footage of the event is being reviewed by the police, and all other persons identified for taking part in the attacks, as well as inciting the violence, will be arrested and brought to face justice, apart from those 29. Now, interestingly, the police cites Act 491, Section 3 of the Public Order Act, that is Act 491, and says the organizers of the demonstration will be arrested and put before court for the attacks and damage to public property in line with the provisions of that said article. And we saw some damage to public property, the roads themselves, and then, some of the buses and equipment of the Ghana Police Service. Meanwhile, the police would like to draw the attention of the public to the calculated falsehood and misinformation being peddled by the organizers and their cohorts. We urge the public to disregard the untruths and treat them with the contempt they deserve, for the footage and images of the event speak for themselves. We would like to assure the public that we remain committed. It goes on and on. And that is the statement from the police, basically. There it is. What is your quick reaction to the point about arresting the organizers and the fact that they suggest these demonstrators were just peddling falsehood? Because if, from my standpoint, Doc, I see that both sides are not being extremely truthful. In some instances, they play along to suit themselves, but demonstrators were manhandled and police officers were also manhandled, affected. What's your reaction?
Well, I don't speak for the police, but what I can say is that the moment the demonstration moved, the whole demonstration moved from a situation of crowd control to rioting and burning of tires and, throwing stones.
Would you describe what happened yesterday as rioting?
Yeah, it was rioting, of course. Okay. It was rioting. It was rioting. The moment it became very confrontational, violent, the only thing that we didn't see was looting. The only thing that we didn't see was looting. And so mine is that the moment that happens, then the police would have to investigate, issues of criminality, either among some of their officers, the demonstrators and their leaders, investigate what happened, and those who are culpable would be brought to book, because then you can see, properties, destroyed. People have had injuries on both sides. The police have shown us some images. And so mine is that, yes, somebody would have to be answerable. And I do believe that is the reason why they are leaders to the Arise Ghana movement. And so I do believe that the police obviously would have to have some interaction with them to know. In one breath, I think I heard somebody yesterday, I think he's one of the NDC persons, alleging that some people were planted in the demonstration who looked like police officers. I will not be able to say it is true.
That allegation has been re-echoed by Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, a member of the Constitutional and Legal Committee of Parliament. He's here in the studio with me. It's been re-echoed by him.
These are issues that must all be investigated. It is good. There are images. These days, it's difficult to do things and hide them. And so there are images all over. And so the demonstrators, their leaders themselves would have to be able to, put their own report together, do their own reviews, so that if ever they had an interaction with the police, whatever evidence they have, they will show it to the police. But the issue, I think when I joined the conversation, Honorable Dafiamekpo actually raised the issue of the police should have arrested those who had the ties. It doesn't happen that way. The moment you do that, then you are going to get the crowd more agitated. If you are not careful, people will die. And so if you look at how the police's arrangement was yesterday, they had officers who were in full riot gear. From, some of them were wearing, oxygen masks. Some of them were wearing other, fully clothed in front. Then they had other officers who were not in riot gear, I think, after them. And then, they were in a certain formation. And this formation, usually what happens is that those who are in riot gear are supposed to ensure that they push the agitated crowd back so that they will follow a certain route. And so mine is that if you are not careful and say they should have arrested them, we are told they've arrested 29 people. I don't know who these people are. But whatever the case is, the police have a duty of care to ensure that every citizen, everyone who finds himself within that enclave is protected, including themselves and the demonstrators. And so the moment the stone hurling and the stone throwing and the tear gas, I've had, some people have alleged that the first tear gas was thrown from the crowd, not from the police. According to, I want to remember his name, is one of the leaders of the NDC. He said the first tear gas got thrown. I haven't heard the police dispute it. Mine is that all these things would have to be investigated, because at the end of the day, you can go to the Americas, go to Britain, go to other places. You would usually see these confrontations every now and then. But it is how it is investigated, and probably those who might have committed crimes, prosecuted. And so as far as I'm concerned, Ben, today they are going to demonstrate again. And my plea to the demonstrators is, can they stick to the roots? The Honorable Dafiamekpo, who is a lawyer, a seasoned lawyer, have mentioned that the fact that you have gone for a stay of execution doesn't take away the ruling that the court ruled. And so we must all be law-abiding, stick to it, so that whatever message you want to put across to all of us, because I think that this is a fight for all of us.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
I'll give you about a minute or two to reflect on what your expectations would be for today, the measures we should put in place, because today I hear they are starting from LWAC, not or brass spot and all of that. So what you would want to see today as far as this demonstration is concerned. But before I get to that, you made reference to that point about infiltration, which I said had been re-echoed by Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo, Member of Parliament for South Dai, that the police itself had infiltrated the demonstrators, and so some of them, though they were clad in red, and there's a photo here of one of them entering the premises of the police, or where they were gathered and all of that, suggesting that maybe this person had been a part of them. We can never know. But is that credible? Does that sound incredible to you? Too far-fetched? Or is it possible? I mean, I just want you to share your thoughts on that.
No, it's normal. It's very normal. I mean,
it's normal for the police to try to infiltrate.
Oh, yes. It's very normal all over the world. Anyone who understands security and how this work is done, once, if they did not notify the police, even if they didn't notify and it was a spontaneous insurrection, the police would usually always have a standby team because theirs is to pick intel. Theirs is to pick who is likely to cause mayhem, to ensure that the persons who are demonstrating are not carrying firearms, to be able to send signals to, the arresting team, because they have various groups. And so it is very normal. I mean, I would have said our police didn't know their work if they didn't have probably, some members of their own.
So it's very normal, but here's where it gets tricky. Is it normal to, and I understand your point, I mean, to infiltrate so that they can even get wind of what could be happening if things are about to escalate and inform the others. But can you stretch this to the point where some of those same people who have infiltrated are now throwing stones back at their colleague police officers? Is that possible?
It's usually not. No, it doesn't go that way. I wasn't there, and it's difficult. I don't even know, because these are plainclothes officers, intelligence officers who were embedded, who were, amongst this. So it will be difficult unless there is some counter information that says yes, they saw them throwing a stone. And I think there is an officer who is sitting in one of the armored vehicles who had, something that looked like a stone. And people I've seen on social media, people are alleging. This is what usually happens. Usually in these armored vehicles, you have, stun grenades. You have stun grenades. It's used in movies. It's used in when you have to probably break into, a place where you have drug lords within and you want to confuse them. You throw it, it explodes. It doesn't kill anybody. I don't know, because I've seen the video. It looks like a stun grenade. I don't know whether it's a stone, but people are alleging. And what I'm saying is that from my security background, the police have stun grenades. They use them for their operations. And in an operation like this, all the smoke you see would not usually be tear gas. Some of them are stun grenades. They drop them and they explode. And so mine is that it will be difficult to say the police officers who embedded their threw stones. It would be, that would be too stretching it, because why would they haul stones to hurt some of their own?
So in 30 seconds,
suicidal.
In 30 seconds, Doc, your expectations for today. What do you want to see to avert a repetition of what we saw yesterday? In 30 seconds.
I want to see the leaders of Arise Ghana demonstration, getting their members, in an orderly manner and going through the routes that the court gave them and highlighting the challenges. Already, we are seeing some positive elements from the area of the executive. Petrol prices are dropping. We want diesel prices to drop. We want, contractors paid. We want the country to work. And so mine is that the demonstration is something that is supposed to highlight this challenge. They should stick to it and not be confrontational with the police. And I will urge the police that whatever it is, the challenges the demonstration are expressing affect them too. So let's judge or let's dialogue. On the ground, the police together with leaders of the demonstration should be seen dialoguing while they are moving, because then where we find ourselves, I think we shouldn't do anything that will destroy the peace we are currently enjoying.
Right. Security analyst Dr. Adam Bonade, thank you so much for your time. Let me come back into the studio. Gentlemen, I want to wrap this particular aspect of the conversation because I want us to briefly talk about our economic situation and the e-levy as well. We have property that's been destroyed, public property, Ghana Police Service, our roads, whatever. We also have the situation about sanitizing our demonstrations to prevent this. We're still teething when it comes to our democratic practice in the Fourth Republic. what would be your takeaways and what would be your expectations ahead of the demonstration starting from LWAC today? A minute and a half each. I'll start with you.
Okay, I had earlier on painted the picture of how the Ghana Police Service have become intolerant.
Intolerant.
And I also wanted to mention, you quickly remind me, there were demonstrations under the erstwhile NDC as well, where people got slapped, beaten, the same pepper spray and all of that.
I am not
tear gas.
I am
you know
not,
that, right?
I am not making.
So let's not paint the picture as though it was limited to now.
Akakpo, you are getting me wrong. I am not making an NPP NDC argument.
Right.
That is why I have singled out the IGP for praise, and I'm singling out the commander that led the team, the anti-riot team yesterday, for blame. That's what I've done. So, and I've heaped praises on the Ghana Police Service as being one of the outstanding police force on the continent and in the world. We are highly sought after. So, but when the issues arise, we need to speak about them. I am saying, why would policemen use brute force to quiet an aggrieved group of SHS students in Kumasi? Why would the police use brute force to quiet down a group of Islamic students in Kumasi? That's the point I'm making. We don't need that. You don't always have to have recourse to the pensions to use brute force on a group of people who are in disagreement with something happening in a certain area, or to stop.
So how do we, because on the back of what happened yesterday, there'll be some frostiness between the police today and the demonstrators.
Of course.
Today. How do we
from their statement.
Ease that out so that the engagement
here is what will happen
forward.
Because they have put out a statement and say that today they will be arresting the organizers of the demo pursuant to Section 3 of the Public Order Act. What does this section say? It says that the police have the right to arrest organizers of a demonstration when the demonstration leads to violence or damage to public property. That's what the section says. So with this in mind, the organizers may resist arrest today. So the police ought not to say this, because after the demonstration, there's a pre-engagement, during the demonstration engagement, and after the demonstration engagement. Because when the demonstration is over, the police will still have to call the organizers and debrief inside.
Okay,
so I expect that they stay their hands on that declaration. Let us finish with what we'll do today. Then perhaps tomorrow or Friday, we can get together and review what went wrong and what didn't go right. And going forward, because as a group of people, we always want to express our displeasure by way of demonstrations, holding peaceful processions, and any of that publicly accepted in law manner
point. Yes. Dr. Adomaku Kisi.
And finally, they should not resist the group from using the route that has been agreed. Yesterday, what degenerated the process was that they blocked us from accessing through Nima Junction.
That was not the agreed route.
Why? If we have a petition to be presented to the president.
But that was not an agreed route.
Why?
Doc.
So my key thing here, there's never enough police training. I think that the police need to up their training. And I love one thing, that it's a police service, and they're here to protect us. So the demonstrators should also afford the police. The police also have rights. They should afford them the rights, and the police will also afford them their rights. And I really think that the organizers of this program also ought to really talk to their folks who are into protest. And it should be a beautiful day today, I think, and hopefully the police will exercise restraint. Those demonstrating should do their possible best.
We will.
And to end, there's a huge plus when people demonstrate in the country. For me, from a medical standpoint, it brings about some relief when you air out. and you voice your opinion.
It's cathartic.
And I really think that it's a process of healing, and hopefully when all this is done, the likes of Bernard Mona would feel much better.
I'd wanted to do this extensively. We don't have time. In a minute, we'll wrap the conversation. But I just want to run by you very briefly, just your quick thoughts on this. The e-levy, from all that we are seeing, is not raking in what we expected. Some suggest 10%, some suggest something just around that. The likes of Dr. Pepra, so many others. I mean, I spoke to Seth Tekpe yesterday. The suggestion is that, look, go to the IMF while you still can. What do you think about that? Just briefly, some 15 seconds. I'll ask you same and
for avoidance of headline-ness, which I've seen on your show.
Which you've seen on my show. So the show goes that far.
The reason why
I
say that, yeah. So I would say this, that listen, we're in very hard times, and it's not a matter of whether going to IMF or not. I really think that Finance Ministry and stakeholders should do what is right for Ghana, regardless of the quote-unquote the noise. And if it so happens
should we or shouldn't we go? So
if it so happens that partaking of IMF chest and having the right ramifications or the right arrangements, I'm for it.
Okay. Yeah. For you?
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yes.
Less than a minute.
Before that, the Ghana Police Service should stop acting.
There's no before that.
They should stop acting like a police force. They are no longer a police force.
They are police service.
They are police service.
All right.
That's all that I want to say. So they should give us service and not use brute force. As to e-levy, I've heard people...
The question is, should we do IMF or not?
They say don't go to IMF.
Should we do it or not?
I don't know. They're in charge of the economy. And they have not told us how much e-levy has given us. They haven't.
Okay.
What Gabi has put out is a social media thing. He has complained and lambasted the NDC for relying on social media news to making their criticism. So I won't rely on his social media information. If the finance minister comes to parliament to say that e-levy is not sufficient, contrary to the projections he came to parliament to give, based on volume other than on value, then he will tell us.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation. We had Dr. Adam Bonai, security analyst. We also had the gentleman in red that you see here, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekbo, member of parliament for South Dine. Member of the Public Accounts Committee and the Constitutional Legal Parliamentary Affairs
and standing orders.
Right. We also had Dr. Dixon Adomaku Kisi, Member of Parliament, Anyaso Utum, also a member of the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you for joining.
And now on Health Committee.
All right. Do stay with us.